Hi, friends. Thanks for joining us. Do us a huge favor. Smash that subscribe button. It helps the channel grow. It really helps get the word out. We can't thank y'all enough. Benny, where can they find us on social media?
Yeah, you can find us, Ray Benny Sports. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Also, check us out on Reddit and Discord, and leave us a rating on your favorite podcast provider.
We got Bomber Talk. We got Jets Talk and Quick Shots. So let's get into the Bomber Talk, brought to you by Fahrenheit Airbrushing. Stand out on the ice, pavement, or the field, or in the stands at Princess Autos Stadium with a custom airbrushed helmet, goalie mask. That'd be cool if you wore a goalie mask to a football game, custom with a Bomber logo on it.
That'd be pretty interesting.
Or any project. And call Fahrenheit Airbrushing. They're a local Manitoba business with affordable solutions for any project. Check out Fahrenheit Airbrushing on Facebook or call them at 204-891-7431.
And don't forget, tell them Ray and Benny sent you.
We're going into the final game of the preseason, second game of the preseason. It's always tough in the CFL. I feel bad for the coaches and management that they make those decisions in like 2 games and within 2 days or maybe within a day of their last preseason game to make that cut.
Yeah, because I mean, the season starts next Thursday, right? That's not a lot of time for the Bombers at all there to make decisions and then start practicing for week 1.
No. There might have been some strategy to hold out some of those veterans to see and get those roster spots to see as many young guys as you could. I don't know. Just saying. So what is your biggest question going to Friday's final game with so many questions? You know, the team has injuries to significant players. On the defensive side, there's holes to fill with players leaving, like Hardrick and Houston and Rasheed Bailey. Who's the linebacker that left to Toronto again? Shoot.
Malik Clemens.
Thank you. Speaking of the Argos, Janarian Grant has just signed with the Argos, and the Bombers are definitely looking for someone to step up a returner. So with all that said, what is your biggest question going into the final preseason game?
I'm going to stick right there. And who is going to replace Janarian Grant? Because, yeah, he's gone. It's official. He's not coming back. He's in Toronto. So for me, I remember the years where we did not have Janarian Grant. And when Janarian Grant was hurt last year, right, our kick return, punt return game was terrible, right, compared to what it was when Janarian Grant was there. Janarian Grant could change that game around, right? One touch that ball and he's gone, touchdown kind of thing. So someone's going to have to step up. And who it's going to be, I don't know. There's a lot of new guys there, right? Demetrius Ford, Chris Smith, Aaron Cruikshank, who came into training camp as maybe the front runner kind of type of guy. You know, and he did okay on the punt return and stuff like that. Kick return. No, punt return last week in the preseason game. So we'll see what he can do. But it's going to be interesting. So to me, that's some big shoes to fill. And the Bombers need a guy there that can flip that field around.
Yeah, and to also piggyback on Janarian Grant and finding a returner to step up in this final game, I'd like to see, I don't know how you can really see it in regards to being someone watching on CFL Plus, but how does Mike Miller adapt as the new coordinator? There's a rookie coordinator here calling these shots. You know, and of course, it's a little easier. The pressure's not on in the preseason, but, you know, the Bombers had a tough time on special teams last year, and it wasn't just lack of talent. No, I'm not saying that there was much lack of talent any which way. Obviously, it hurt when you lose probably the number one weapon in a returner like Janarian Grant, but it just wasn't clicking in regards to them being able to cover. They were like second last in kick return average, and they couldn't stop anyone. So I'd be concerned about that too.
Yeah. Special teams as a whole, that was the biggest question last year, right?
Yeah.
Which one's going to show up? Are they going to be able to stop these dynamic returners that are on these other teams? And they struggled all around with all that stuff. The only consistency was probably Castillo for kicking for the most part, right? So yeah, it's a big question. Yeah, and you're like you say, you're going to a rookie guy to lead the way in Mike Miller. We all know the stats and what he did on the field. Will it translate now? So that'll be another interesting thing to see. And we may not get a good glimpse of it in tomorrow's game, but definitely week 1, it's going to be up there. And it's, you know, all eyes are going to be on it, right? We know what the offense can do. For the most part, the offense is pretty set. We got those 2 guys on the O-line that they still have to kind of figure out, but it looks like they're leaning towards Eric Lofton and Liam Dobson in the guard position there and the right tackle position, right? So
Yeah.
really that's all set. Questions, a few questions on in the D side, on the D line,
Of course,
linebacker
D
room is
line's
going to
number
be.
one. That's the number one issue for me.
Yeah.
Two big losses with the retirement of Jackson Jeffcoat. Long-term injury to Cam Lawson. Who knows how long he's going, and that's going to hit you in the ratio as well. Like the Bombers were third in sacks last year with 53, and that was with Jeffcoat missing 7 games. And we usually notice a decline in the performance of the pressure on the passer and even the stoutness against the run when Jeffcoat was out. And you can't replace that. We've mentioned that before with one person. So there's a rotation going on, and I mentioned his name before, but I'm really interested to see how Chauncey Rivers steps up because Celestine Haba is not listed on the depth chart. Thomas isn't there on the D tackle. Garbutt's not there, so he's probably solidified in the middle as well. And Willie Jefferson on the end is not playing, so or is not on the depth chart. So the young guys will have to prove themselves, and I'm a little concerned on the D line, especially with Cam Lawson down. So those Woods and Adams or Fox are going to get the opportunity to replace Ricky Water as that American defensive tackle, but who's going to step up as a Canadian defensive tackle? So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, jumping into that with the D line, so it's Tanner Schmeichel that's the guy that's next man up.
Really,
Really,
gonna get schmeckled.
Schmeichel. Did I say that wrong?
Gonna get schmeckled.
Schmeichel. The next guy up there for Cam loss, right? Huge loss,
Yeah.
obviously, because if Jake Thomas, knock on wood, whatever, nothing happens to him. Because if he went down, that'd be a lot of inexperience there, right? Schmeckel's only in his second year, only played a little bit. I think he only started the last game of the season or played mainly in the last game of the season. Did get a sack. So, but second year guy drafted 4th round last year. It's time. He's going to have to step up quicker than they probably were hoping he had to do, right? So big shoes to fill, and hopefully he can do that and help Jake Thomas out on that D line.
Remember earlier? Yes. Remember earlier when Anthony Bennett was released, and there was some kind of statement made that is about a little more of kind of like a roster shuffle movement. When is he coming back? And also, there's Manitoban Colin Cornelson that I'd like to see what they can do. So the future looks bright, and they got some defensive tackles, 3 of them, with Schmeckel, Bennett, and Cornelson, who were drafted in 2023, getting an opportunity here. So we'll see with Kyle Walters how his drafting was very quickly in a 1-year turnaround with these 2023 picks.
Yeah, I haven't heard much about Bennett since that time. Like they said, it was injury related, so he's got to work through it. He'll be back. Yeah, nothing there. And Cornelson's not listed either on this depth chart at all. So unless he's kind of solidified a spot there already, but that'd be interesting as well. So yeah, some big questions there to ask and to answer really. So hopefully Rivers steps up tomorrow. Because not one guy is gonna replace Jeffcoat, man. And you need that guy because you don't want guys zoning in on Willard Jefferson and taking away that strength of the Bombers D, right? Because then that puts everything else in flux. If you can't get a good pass rush, then the linebackers are suffering, the DBs are suffering, right? It starts up front, and that D line needs to be good.
We saw that last year.
Yeah.
Multiple times, unfortunately. Taking a look into the defensive backs room. Questions, concerns, strengths. Me personally, I'm be overly optimistic. Because there's not too much change. 5 out of a possible 6, or 5 out of 6 possible starters are back. Not full-time from last year, but possible. We're in the rotation with injuries because the Bombers really did rotate a lot of defensive backs in last year. But when you have Jordan Younger and you have Richie Hall still hands-on as 2 of the best defensive backs in their own playing time, teaching up these young guys, I think it's going to be good. I think they're going to be good. Might be some growing pains, but if they can stay healthy, I like what they have, especially with Dietrich Nichols and Evan Holm being able to hold it down. And Cramdy, he's a solid Canadian in that dime Sam position. So Jamal Parker, when he comes back, we'll see what's going on, but I'm pretty confident.
Yeah, until I really looked into this, into who's there, I was kind of concerned about it. But once I started looking at it, I'm like, wow, this is probably one of the spots where most of the guys are returning. Like you say, besides that one spot. But Tyreek McGee is a guy who was on the practice roster last year, looked impressive, got injured last year, so he didn't see a lot of playing time in the season. But he was kept around for a reason. So I'm excited to see what he could do either in tomorrow night's game or game 1 next week. But yeah,
Yeah.
like you say, a lot of these guys are back. Brandon Alexander is back. And then you got Nick and Noah Hallett behind him. So you got some depth there, guys that have been around in the system. Nichols and Home, right? They did a fantastic job last year. And Nichols probably didn't get enough recognition last year for what he did and for the lack of passes that really went his way. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what, yeah, like you say, Jamal Parker back. Who's going to take that next spot? Tyreek McGee, sorry, or Tyrell Ford. So it'll be exciting to see what they both do tomorrow night.
I'm really excited to watch Tyreek McGee develop. Like, dude's a baller. He
Yeah.
has football DNA coming from Georgia, and he had a bit of issues. He had a couple of drug tests, not illegal drugs, but in regards to some prescriptions he was taking for ADHD, and it affected something. I don't know the science, but there's the CFL has a history of giving players a second chance. Some infractions being very serious, some of them not so serious. So I'm really excited about Tyreek McGee. He looks like I don't want to get too excited, but a good mainstay for where the Bombers are. The
Yeah.
experience is their strength in the secondary, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And you know what? The Bombers have found guys in in the
Yes.
backfield over and over again, right? D. Alford was there a couple seasons ago, ended up going into Atlanta, right? So, and they keep finding these Evan Holm, Nichols, it's like they've brought guys in and have had success bringing guys in there. So,
Yeah.
I'm not too concerned. And they got a bunch of guys vying for backup roles here as well. So, I'm good with this position at the DBs, and I think the Bombers will have success, even though they lost Demarius Houston, yeah, sorry, and Winston Rose, I guess, kind of petered out last year. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm excited about this spot.
A lot of these guys were on the past couple secondaries that allowed 19 touchdowns against in 2022 and then 12 last year.
Yeah.
12 air touchdowns against in the CFL for the whole season is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Most teams have that by like the
Week
halfway
4,
point of the season. Or
Ottawa
4.
had a week 3. No, I'm just kidding.
So yeah, I'm very optimistic about this. Carefully optimistic, maybe overly optimistic. We'll see. I like what I see there.
Yep, for sure.
We did mention Cam Lawson getting hurt. What does that mean to the Bombers? Like, what do they do next?
Yeah, a lot on the back of Jake Thomas, really, right? Because now Jake Thomas has got to step up, and one of these guys that we talked about, Schmeichel, Cornelison, hopefully one of these guys can step up, so it'll give Thomas a chance to get breathers here and there, right? Because you don't want Thomas for how well Thomas did last year to start the season. How many sacks did he have? Like 8, going like in
Yeah,
the first, like
career
early,
high.
right? So he had a good season, but he's also now his 12th year. So he's not the type of guy that's going to end up playing a full game. So you need one of these other guys to step up. And then you need that American spot to take over Ricky Walker to be able to. That's the thing now, too. You're going to have a new guy there, right? So
Yeah.
you got Jake Thomas. Schmeichel, if he's in, may not be able to help that new guy either. You got new guys like Miles Fox, who has played in the CFL before, right? I do believe, yeah, he was BC last year, right?
Yeah, he was picked. Yeah, he was with BC. He was released, and the Bombers picked him up last year.
Oh, right, yeah. So he's been with the Bombers for that. So yeah, so a lot of guys, but a lot of fresh faces that are going to take over that other spot where Ricky Walker was last year. So
Yeah,
big loss, and hopefully it's not a full season because we haven't really heard. They said it's going to be a minimum 6 games at least, right? So it could be a lot longer.
and like we mentioned earlier, obviously that's going to affect the ratio. Like looking at the depth chart with Shane Gauthier sitting out, he must be the Canadian starter that definitely is coming in to replace him on the ratio as a starter. You think so? Because Biggie's not going to play.
Yeah.
And Gautier's sitting out, isn't he? He's not on the depth chart for tomorrow, is he?
No, he's not. No.
So maybe they're made up their mind there. Because I don't think Cadwalder's going to be starting on the other side.
No. He's coming in second tomorrow. Patrician.
Yeah.
Is starting there tomorrow, but that's where Kyrie Wilson is, right? So, yeah, Brian Cole on the other side. But like we said, yeah, Cramdy will probably be there. So
absolutely.
Yeah, yep. It's wow. So there's some big questions to ask, man.
And Gemel's great in the middle, but you got to put a Canadian in there somewhere. And the only hole I can see starting is probably there. Shane
Yeah.
Gauthier, because he's experienced. He held the fort. You know,
Yeah.
it wasn't. I don't remember watching after Biggie got hurt in the playoffs in that game. Um, I've been like, oh, the middle linebacker's suffering because he's not no disrespect to Big Hill. You know what I'm saying? One of the goats. But I don't remember saying last year, dang, Gauthier is really suffering out there.
Yeah. He had a big play in the Grey Cup. Did he not, Gauthier? Did he not get the sack on that one play or no? Or am I thinking
Can't
wrong? Like
remember.
late in the game there. No. But yeah, like you say, it wasn't nothing nefarious by Gauthier when he was in there. And it was not like you were watching him going, oh my God, get that guy out of here or anything like that. So
No, no.
yeah, it looks like he'd probably be the guy there for sure.
Dakota Prukop was released. If you're the Bombers, are you looking into Dakota Prukop?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, depends what happens in that third QB spot tomorrow, right? Eric Berry was already released. They just brought in Darren Granger. So we'll see what he can do in a quick turnaround. But um, yeah, I mean, if they do not do well in that spot tomorrow, then yeah, I would definitely look at Dakota, seeing if you can get Dakota Prukop back because you know what he can do. Short yardage, he was very good last year.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would look at that unless someone really stands on their head tomorrow.
I'm saying not right away. You know, obviously for emergency purposes, I keep him on the radar, especially a few games into the year. I think, obviously, based on a very small sample size, I think Terry Wilson has it. From what we saw, and in combination with the fact that he's had some experience in the professional circuit, being in the Dallas Cowboys camp, and he saw some action in the USFL, one game as a starter. It'll definitely be interesting to see what Darren Granger can do. But I think he was brought in to be a camp arm. This is just a fan's opinion. I haven't heard anything. But if you're looking at numbers, you probably were thinking Caleros is going to sit, Strevler was going to sit or play very minimal. So you need another arm out there, especially taking reps or whatever. So he's a great athlete. 6'4", would be great on short yardage, but Terry Wilson's 6'3". I think he can handle it, and I think he got a good handle for the playbook already over Granger. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Prukop's even maybe on the outside of the radar.
Yeah, if Terry Wilson has a terrible game tomorrow, then I see it happening. If Terry Wilson has another good game or decent game, yeah, then I see for sure keeping him and seeing if you can develop him. Like you said, Darren Granger came in late to training camp, has only been here for what, a week, not even.
Yeah.
So he had a lot to learn in that week. So it's going to be tough for him to have much success tomorrow in one game of action, right? And to show that he can beat out Terry Wilson. Maybe sticks around on the practice roster after that or something like that. But yeah, it'll be tough for him to end up winning that third spot.
Coming straight out of university.
Yeah.
He's an athlete that'd be great on the practice roster.
Yeah, and I just reading here in an article by Ed Tate, it says impressive contender in Darren Granger, but passport issues kept him from getting here in time.
He can definitely do some imitations of Darvin Adams.
Yeah.
And he has a good arm. He's an accurate arm. Wow. Let's move on to some Winnipeg Jets talk.
Yeah, let's see. Let's just, you know what? I'm excited. The season is starting. Last preseason game next week, Thursday, game one of the season at Princess Auto Stadium. I was about to say IG Field again. So, yeah, some big questions for the Bombers to answer here over the weekend, right? And a lot of guys are going to end up, unfortunately, being sent away and not have the opportunity to play in the CFL, or maybe they'll catch on somewhere else. But I'm excited
don't feel
to see
bad.
what the moves. Yeah.
I call it Canadian Stadium sometimes still to this day.
Yeah.
Let's
just
move on
go back
to
to Winnipeg
Jets
Stadium. Sorry.
what?
Just go back to Winnipeg Stadium.
There's no money in that. Literally. Well, I guess literally. That's not figuratively. Winnipeg Jets talk. Initial reaction to Scott Arniel promotion. You go first.
Why? I mean, okay. What can I just say a farce of a hiring process? I mean, really, what did you do here? You interviewed three candidates. Scott Arniel was one of them. Berube was another one, and I think Todd McClellan was the third. Both Berube and McClellan were both over Zoom or whatever. They were not in person, so I don't even know what the heck we're doing here. Why we even went through with this? I don't like the hire. But I'll give the guy a chance. I didn't like the bonus hire, and that seemed to work out.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give Arniel the benefit of the doubt that he changed his ways from Columbus. That something happened in the last 10 years where he didn't get another opportunity, but somehow he
Why
found it
don't
with the
you like
Winnipeg
this
Jets. So
hire? Why don't you like this hire?
the guy's had one opportunity as a head coach and he wasn't good. I know Columbus didn't have the greatest roster, but the
The
guy
roster was
clashed.
terrible.
Yes, the guy clashed with his players, though. He clashed with his star players, called them out, and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see. Maybe he's learned his lesson. But I just the penalty kill stunk. Shoveldale says it's more about continuity, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, they had a good regular season, but terrible playoffs. He was part of that. 2 terrible playoffs in a row. I don't want I want that to get better. I don't expect the same results next year, right?
Yeah.
And then I don't know if Shoveldale's just happy with, hey, we made the playoffs kind of thing. As a Jets fan, I want to see more. I want to see beyond the first round. I want to see them win a first round. And to me, I don't think the excitement's there for this Arniel hire to get more butts in the seat.
Yeah.
You're not going to sell season tickets.
Yeah. I like this hiring. I don't think you can prioritize continuity and trending upwards for trying to put butts in seats. I was not I obviously was a fan of Berube and some possibly splashy signing going in. And of course, when they met with these guys, they had to beat Scott Arniel and what the potential was there. And of course, I wonder, did they talk to Mark Scheifele? Did they talk to Hellebuck? Did they talk to Lowry about keeping Scott Arniel on the team? But you have a guy who knows the temperature of the room, and this is a team that won 52 games and got 110 points and have made consecutive playoff appearances. And we've talked about this before, and this should be on Chevy's plate. We look at this team going toe to toe with Colorado, and we said that they are not man to man able to go toe to toe with Colorado. So they got to make some serious roster changes. I think fundamentally they're a good team, and I think you got to ride that trending upwards. And I think someone who's been there, someone who appreciates the market, I think that's a good candidate for the Winnipeg Jets at this point. I don't think they needed a big shakeup for a team that won 52 games and went over 100 points. I think continuity is good, and hopefully there's enough player change that there can be a more competitive team, especially late in the season.
See, great regular season. I don't like what happened in the playoffs, and you can't say Colorado was way superior. Or yes, in the playoffs, but the Jets did finish ahead of Colorado in the regular season. So something happened in that playoffs where Colorado figured things out, and the Jets kind of stuck to their laurels. And yes, it's bonus. Bonus is the coach, so it was his way probably, and no one else's. But I don't like the way things ended there, and you're going to just continue on with that same coach, or sorry, a coach from that same staff.
Yeah.
Who is generally going to probably follow some of the same ways that Bonus does. Like I said, he can change things. Brad Lauer is gone, at least. So there is that. So that was before I heard that concerned me, thinking, oh crap, they're just going to bring everybody back and it's going to be the same thing there. Exactly the same thing, right? So we'll see. We'll see if he learned anything in the last decade plus of not being a head coach.
He had to have.
You hope so. My Commodore still rips the guy, so but I know
he also rips everyone.
They had a falling out and all that stuff. So
sure,
it's gonna be interesting. I'm not excited. I don't think it's gonna change much. I still expect the Jets to make the playoffs with this roster that they have. But like I said, I'm tired of losing in the first round. I want to see them advance further into the playoffs. I mean, you look at Dallas, right? I mean, Dallas has a very good team. They have some good players.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of players. I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think. Can you name a lot of the guys there? Like Jamie Ben's older. Jamie Ben's older. See, that's the thing. They brought in the young guys, Robertson, Wyatt Johnson, guys that were younger that came in and sparked this team a little bit, right? Jamie Ben is there. He still got skill, but he doesn't put up the same points as he does. Even Tyler Seguin, like he is non-existent for some games, scores a couple the next game kind of thing. So to me, Dallas's roster is not that, maybe defensively it is, but it's not superior to the Jets roster. So I think the Jets could have done better than what they did.
Is what Dallas did based a lot on what Rick Bowness brought in, or was there a complete flip around when they changed coaches?
Yeah, I mean, Bowness did take them to the Stanley Cup final, but I think that was was that the bubble season? A little bit of a weird season, I don't know, but yeah, Pete DeBoer again, he's doing a good job there. I don't know. Dallas is, I guess they've kept guys, right? They haven't had a lot of turnover, and they've made right moves to bring in guys and help them out. We'll see with Tanev gone right now. what happens with them. But
Consistency is a good thing. I think too with this organization. I think a total shakeup, I don't think would be beneficial at this time, especially with them building off what they can and with some young talent coming in. And actually, him saying, I believe in analytics, ugh, for me a little bit, and young talent. So we'll see how it goes.
yeah, I mean that's an interesting statement for Scott Arniel. Like at least if he's going to use analytics, let's go, let's use it. I think it was Cole Perfetti says he's excited about Arniel, but I mean,
Yeah.
what else are these guys going to say? I'm not excited, right? So we'll see.
This
We
will
got
work. They'll have to bring in some talent.
yeah,
Definitely.
some
Speaking
off-season moves here and see what happens with some of the young guys.
speaking of talent, are you on board with the resigning of Monahan or trying to resign Monahan? Does Monahan at 2C, second center, make the Jets a contender? We spoke about this a couple episodes ago, and I think I was a little too hard on Monahan. And I kind of think what partially changed my mind was looking at what's available in the free agent market. Based on what he makes, the salary bracket, aside from Max Domi and Chandler Stevenson, sign him. Jonathan Drouin also may be an option, but in regards to available centers, I think he might be the best option. Now, in regards to making the Jets a contender, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sold on him being there, but you bring in someone like Stephenson, you have Shifley, Monahan, Stevenson, and Lowry down the middle, then I'm like, damn. But as is right now, if he's the legit number two clear favorite, no, I don't think they're a contender.
Yeah, that's the biggest question for me. Like it depends. Okay, what are you going to get him for? How many years do you have to get him for? I don't want to overpay the guy. Give him a 4-year, $4 million per year contract or anything like that.
No
You
way.
know, but yeah, if he's at your second center, that to me that doesn't make the Jets a contender. Really, you need to find a better second center. And we've talked about it where Shifley ranks kind of in the 1C department compared to other teams, right?
Yep.
And he's a lot lower than a lot of other teams with their 1C, especially in that Central Division or even in the West Division altogether, conference. I mean, so yeah, I would take Max Domi. I wouldn't mind seeing Max Domi come to Winnipeg.
Yep.
But yeah, Monahan doesn't do it for me. I don't mind the signing necessarily if it bumped things down or stuff like that. But yeah, as a 2C and what he ended up doing in the playoffs, that does not excite me. But like you say, there's not a lot of other options out there unless you swing a trade.
Yeah, and I can't be too hard on the guy either because he came like around the trade deadline. You're not with the same players all year. The Jets lines were constantly in flux, especially when they're going through that losing streak. So maybe if he had time to play with Perfetti on one side and Ehlers or Connor on the other for an extended amount of time, like a strong 20 games to start the season, maybe that'll just, because he was like, what, 0.7 something points per game? That's solid.
Oh yeah, definitely very good
For
end to the regular season.
Yeah, for 1.7 million. Like,
Yeah,
what's he going to get next year? 3 million.
I've seen something with 4, so that's why it kind of scares me. So
And that like you can get Jonathan Drouin for maybe 3-4 million. But any which way, that's all off season to talk about that. I like him, but I don't think he's a bona fide 2C push you over the edge to be a Stanley Cup deep playoff dude.
yeah,
I love him though. Great for the power
I'll
play, obviously.
I'll agree on that.
Yeah. Move on to quick shots.
Let's do it.
Will Rafa Nadal retire?
Soon. I don't think yet. I think he wants to play still in the Olympics this year, but yeah, he's coming up, and I think he's going to be almost like a Tiger Woods, play a few tournaments here and there where his body can still do it.
Yeah, Father Time, Mother Nature, and history are against him.
Yeah.
Nobody over 37 has won a major. So yeah, I played tournaments in that, but I'm sure he's made enough money, unless that's not my business. But anyways, way his main thing was agility and great shots. And when you lose agility, that's stamina.
Yeah, I mean, he just lost quickly in the French Open, right?
Dang.
He's only had that was only his 4th loss in 116 career matches at the French Open. So, and this one was quick.
Thoughts on Messi not playing in Vancouver? Man, I hate load management. It's the worst. It was a pain in the ass in Winnipeg when big time players did it to us. They come through Winnipeg, we're going to take a night off. It sucks watching NBA games and not watching the best players. Uh, So, good for the Vancouver team for offering like discounts on concessions, but come on, just play the game. You're paid a lot of money to pay a full contract. You know, play it.
I can understand where they're coming from. It's a long flight from Miami to Vancouver, 6 hour flight, time zone difference, all that kind of stuff, and then flying back and playing some home games. The MLS really should have planned this better and had games. Okay, you play in Vancouver, your next game is closer to Vancouver on the road, kind of thing, right? But the issue is here, like if you go Europe soccer, it's you finish first, you win the league, right? Here it's like, okay, we just got to make the playoffs. So yeah, we can rest guys here and there. In Europe and all that stuff, you cannot rest guys because hey, if you drop 3 points, that could be huge. So yes, it sucks for the fans, and it sucks because some places charge a little bit more knowing Messi's coming in, and then all of a sudden he does not come in. So yes,
especially when you're a season ticket holder and you want to jack up the price and sell them off. Yeah, they're laughing.
Yeah.
Thoughts on Harrison Butker comments?
What a guy. Yeah, I mean, I don't agree with his comments, especially in the place that he made his comments. You're at a convocation of a graduation ceremony, and instead of encouraging people, hey, find the job that you love and all this stuff, you're talking to them about becoming a homemaker. Have your opinions, I guess, dude, but maybe don't share them in that kind of spot.
Wasn't a Christian university?
Yes.
He's a dink. Just outdated religious gender role views. Should he be fired? No. It's whatever. American values, freedom of speech, whatever they want to do, freedom of religion. But he's 100% a dink. With the series tied at 2-2, who's taking the West in the NHL? The Oilers. If they can continue to shut down Dallas's power play, and if Darnell Nurse steps up and continues to be a physical force out there and not messing things up, other than the goal going off of him, I think the Oilers have it.
Yeah, I'm still going to go with Dallas prevailing in that series. Unless Chris Tanev is out, then I would definitely flip the script to Edmonton, but I'll still take Dallas right now.
Will Dak Prescott be a Cowboy in 2025?
I'm going to say no. I think Dallas is hoping maybe that Trey Lance does turn into something, or whatever San Francisco is hoping that Trey Lance would be, so they can move on from Dak. The only way Dak does if he actually wins something this year.
I think he totally will be a Cowboy. I'm fully convinced that Jerry Jones is out to lunch, and it would totally be a Jerry Jones move to continue this fruitless relationship with Dak at quarterback. Benny, do you have anything to say to our friends?
You know what? Just thanks a lot for listening. Don't forget, subscribe and follow, and have a good week.
And in the words of LeVar Burton, we'll see you next time. You like that about Dak, eh?
Jerry, keep being Jerry, please.
Jerry's World.